What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chucky from Shook Earth Media, and today we are back with Fear the Walking Dead yet again, the final season. This episode tries to answer a lot of questions. It answers the origin of Padre and why they do the things that they do. Probably the dumbest plot twist I've ever seen is at the end, but we'll get to that. It's not a great episode, not the worst episode, but it's just like, it's so frustrating to watch this show. The whole episode kind of feels like it goes in a circle, so I don't know what you guys think, but that's my opinion going away from this episode. So let's just get into the breakdown and let me know your opinions in the comment section down below. So we start the episode with Madison being the test subject. And last week we got Dwight's son getting bit by the zombie in the machine. And now it's Madison's turn to do that. I thought she got bit already, so I don't know. I'm a little bit confused about that part. Like, what was the injury on her arm we saw in the first episode this season? I don't really get that. But now they're gonna start doing the radiation treatments again after the end of the last episode, and it's Madison's turn, and she's talking with June about how they speculate it might have to do with some of her genetics, given Alicia survived the bite last season, even though she cut her arm off, which we know that they can do, but putting that to the side for the second, apparently the radiation treatments are working for the Dwight's son. He appears at the end of the episode, so apparently he's doing okay. So I don't know why, if the radiation treatments were the thing, why they're still stuck on the genetics being a thing. It's just really confusing. I don't really understand. But either way, Madison is the test subject now. And I thought the whole point of her staying alive was because of her genetics. I don't know. I'm really confused. Anyways, here is the zombie with the bag on its head. I don't know why the zombie has a bag on its head. I don't know if that's supposed to make it safer or something. But the zombie has a bag on its head, and it's in the machine. And we didn't talk about it last week because I was kind of wrapped up in the scene itself. But this machine, I'm not really sure what it's supposed to be. If anybody has an idea, let me know in the comment section. But it doesn't look like it looks like it's pre-apocalypse. I don't think they manufactured this, although it does seem like maybe they have the ability to make bullets or something, like how Alexandria had the way to make bullets. So I don't know if they have some rudimentary way of making a machine, but I would assume that this is a machine they found and they made it into this. So what is the thing supposed to be with the zombie head and its arm and it stretches out? I don't know what that... If anybody has an idea, I'm honestly curious what that's supposed to be. But, so June and Madison are talking about, hey, Madison's like, can you do me a favor? June's like, sure, anything. It's like, well, maybe you start with not killing her. I don't know about that first scene, but now we get a flashback here. And this is the origin story for Padre. Honestly, it's a little early to do this, especially if we have a full season left of them being the antagonist. I think that pulling the curtain back and showing too much, I think, is a mistake. But and honestly, I'm not really all that happy with how this turned out either. So I mean, there's a good before and after with this character Shrike. She goes by. I like the transformation you see. It's 12 years ago, so I guess that confirms we're 12 years roughly into the apocalypse. This first scene here, they break into this room, and then they're like, we're not supposed to be in here. And then their dad scares them on the speaker. So I don't really... this is the room that they end up using often later with the interrogations and whatnot, with the one-way glass. And I don't know why they're not allowed to be in here. I didn't really understand that part of the scene either. And they're fascinated by this glass. I mean, it's one-way glass. Like, we've all seen movies, right? We all know interrogations. Unless you've been in a police station yourself, then you've seen it personally. But most of us just see it on TV. So I don't know what the fascination is with that. But the weird thing is, like, this is post-apocalypse. Like, they talk about how the cities got bombed, so they know about zombies. They're acting really calm, given the situation, and they're goofing around. I guess they're in relative security, but they're just out and about, and there's danger around every corner in this world, so it just feels completely displaced. And here we get the origin of why they use bird names, which I always thought was kind of silly because there's only so many birds. And I thought Padre was like hundreds of people, thousands of people. Apparently it's not that big. It doesn't seem like it based on this episode. So I forgot to mention that in this scene, they say that the point of the bird code names is so that people listening on the radio don't know their real names. And I'm just thinking, what would that reveal to anybody? Like, strangers know your name, so what? I don't know what the purpose of having a code name is, what kind of risk that there is in revealing your real name. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't know. Let me know if you guys can figure it out. But so their dad's in the army, and we already knew Padre was like a military operation, a government operation, given there's a senator 7 years ago who's trying to get there. And I don't know. I guess we'll find out more about that. But something goes wrong with that operation. But here they're looking through binoculars at a bird. And I guess the binoculars symbolize their mother who was lost. Her mother gave them the binoculars. And I don't know. I don't really understand all this. And the son character says that he knows about Atlanta and LA getting bombed, and they only mention those two cities because they're the ones that we see on the franchise. But they don't. He doesn't know about any other. Are those the only cities that were bombed? I would have assumed every city. So why not New York? How did he find out about this? I thought the communications had shut off by that point. Maybe not. I don't know the timeline. I'm a little confused by the timeline, but I could be wrong about that. But they're getting on a boat to go to some dock or something, and that's the flashback here. But they have this fascination here on Fear the Walking Dead where, to give the illusion of depth or transformation, we just take everything now. So Padre's like, we're ripping apart families and we're creating a totalitarian structure and we're the only ones that matter. And their dad, they want you to think that he's Padre this whole episode. That's the plot twist. And he's like, no, we need to stick together as a family and we need to create trade networks, and pretty much the exact opposite of what they're doing now. And they try to justify that based on this episode, based on the fact that, spoiler alert, he dies. So, it gives the illusion of depth and transformation by just taking one thing and making it the exact opposite. And they did the same thing with Madison, you know, how she was the mother protector. And then with Padre, they made her the opposite of that. And it's just a trope at this point. It's not really realistic or compelling. It's just kind of like confusing. I also just had the thought that despite the fact that at the beginning of the episode in the flashback, that Shrike and her brother seem to have already lost their mother. They've already been through the pain of losing a parent, and yet they are still like goofing around and don't seem that affected by it. And yet the death of their father is like something they can't get over for some reason. So it's just, it doesn't make sense to. So now we're back. Here's the zombie machine I was talking about. Like, what are these clamps supposed to be? I'm genuinely asking. I don't know. So, of course, Mo is now back in Padre, and they chose to forgive her for her transgressions, I guess you could say. But based on the end of that episode, they said, we forgive you, you're back with us. But you would think that they would put her on a short leash, or at least keep her under some sort of probation period where they're watching her. But she's able to just find out all this stuff. She gets away. And she's on her own. She's found out where this train is. She found out about Dwight's son getting bit and all this stuff. And I'm just like, how does everybody know everything going on? And I don't know. It just seems... I thought Padre was bigger than that. But no, they know everything. And of course, we got Mo with the sledgehammer, which is ridiculous. I mean, even an adult carrying a sledgehammer around all day is a lot. But she's supposedly like 8 years old, right? So I don't know. But we've talked about that already. I'm kind of repeating myself. So they want to get on the train, and then they hammer the railroad tracks to get the guards' attention. And then, Madison's going to get bit here. And then saved by Mo, basically. And I don't really understand this because Mo hammers the railroad thing and then runs into the woods. The guard chases after them. And then Mo's able to get away somehow? I don't know. I guess she hides, and then I don't know, man. And that was the only guard they had. I don't know. All these things I'm thinking about, and we got a little bit of a shootout scene, and the shootout scene's fine. You know, it's not particularly. It's a bit of a stretch. You know, there's a lot of stormtrooper aim going on, but it's fine. Not worth complaining about. But now, but it does make the villain here look kind of weak, though. She doesn't even try to like fight back or anything. So I don't know about that either. But you know, it's a lot of coincidences. Of course, Mo showing up right on time, and you know, and then there's rebels that show up outside the train later. So again, coincidences and coincidences, and Madison also recognizes this other girl, this, and we know why at the end, because it's the woman who was in the season finale for season 7 last season. We get that answer at the end, but she's like, I recognize you somehow, and I'm just sitting here thinking like everybody recognizes everybody. I don't know about you guys, but we're talking about things that happened over 7 years ago, because Madison hasn't been part of Padre, like collecting people, in over 7 years. I don't know about you guys, but there were people that I worked with like every day for a month or two, where if I met them today, I'll be like, maybe I recognize you, but I don't remember where. And it's like, it's just, she remembers all these specific things about people with the rebels outside later. And it's like, your daughter was this, and she met these people one time. I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I maybe other people remember stuff more, but I have trouble placing people sometimes. So now Dove is like, they're trying to turn her, basically. Dove is Mo's friend slash guardian, I suppose. And she's caught in the middle. She's still loyal to Padre, but they're posing some questions here. The woman, Shrike is her name, the antagonist here. She's let loose, like, you can't kill me because my dad is Padre, or I'm Padre's daughter. And the big twist at the end is like, it's not Padre's daughter, I'm Padre's brother, except I'm also Padre. It's very confusing, but I don't know why that really, I guess it's an extra threat because, like, Padre's gonna, but if you kill anybody from Padre, they're gonna come get you, right? So I don't know why that's an extra threat. But, you know, regardless, it seems like a big thing to let slip right here, and it's very convenient for the plot because the rest of the story revolves around using the lie that she's actually related to Padre against, and they act like this big twist at the end that it's actually her brother makes a big difference. It really doesn't, though, because, you know, it's still, this whole thing is like they're against families, right? I'm assuming, we don't actually know, but I'm assuming they don't let you hang out with your brother or sister either. So they're not big on family, they're not big on siblings, right? So it doesn't really contradict it, I don't think, but they're acting like it does. So now they managed to convince her based on the fact that she was lying about that. And you know, and that's how they get Dove to turn to our side, I suppose you could say. Now we're back to the flashback, which at this point just feels pointless. You know, by the end of the episode, you understand what the point is, but I'm just like, why do I care about this? And this is the dumbest fucking scene. Okay, so there's the binoculars in the last flashback scene. Supposedly, oh, this is how I see the threats before they come. And they take that really literally and really to heart because the father leaves the binoculars on the boat. And I'm assuming they're stowing away here. They're not supposed to be on this boat. Presumably they're supposed to be safe elsewhere. I don't really understand what's happening, the mechanics of it. But he's like, I gotta go get the binoculars to our father. And even though, like, the soldiers literally just left, they're just disappeared. Everybody just instantly died after getting off the boat. Like, he runs away, and then we catch up to them later, and all the soldiers are dead. Like, they all died instantly as soon as they got into the... What? I don't know. But, like, what? He's so desperate to get the binoculars to him. Like, what do you think it's gonna do? Like, I don't know. It's really dumb. What is so important about these binoculars? It's so important to him that he locks his sister in this boat. So I don't know, man. It's really stupid, okay? I don't really understand. And then, of course, another coincidence, we got the rebel soldiers right outside the train, just on time, coincidentally. I kind of like that we're going somewhere with this rebellion storyline. It's starting up. And, of course, we get the reveal that the leader of the rebels is, in fact, Daniel. And I'm a big fan of the Daniel character. I really liked him early on. One of my favorite episodes is that there's an episode that was like a movie about Daniel's life, basically, and I really loved that episode. 100, I think it was called, or something like that. A really good episode. But yeah, coincidentally, they happen to show up, and I'm not really sure what the rebels' plans are right now, because they're not in a rush to do anything. I would assume like if they're running it like a military, and Daniel's got the experience. They want to capture these soldiers, I guess. They don't want to kill the Padre soldiers. They want to capture them to try to get information out of them, or to use them as pawns in like hostage negotiations or something, take them as hostages. But they don't seem to have a plan, They're not like they don't have bags that they're going to put over their heads and tie them up and keep them as soldiers. They're just like interrogating them at gunpoint, where's Adrian? Why would they know? Like, how do they know? How do you know that they know who Adrian is? I don't know. It's so they just the plot needed that to happen, So, and I already talked about Madison recognizing everybody, and the one mother's like, looking at this girl like, that's my daughter. And I don't know. I guess I can see that happening, somebody just wishful thinking. So now Daniel is back, and I guess we completely forgot about the dementia thing. That doesn't matter, which I'm cool with that. I don't want him to be like that, but that's not something that goes away. It gets worse over time. So 7 years in the future, he should be much more deteriorated. So he remembers everything though, and shows no signs of that. So I guess we've forgotten about that. And okay, I guess that's an improvement. I don't know. His accent seems thicker now. Am I the only one who thinks that? I don't know. I gotta watch older episodes, I guess. But I remember him having an accent, of course, but I feel like it's thicker now. Like they're laying it on a bit more. So I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong about that. So, okay, we're walking with the rebels now. We're going to get a boat, I think, is what the plan is. And we're kind of catching up, we're talking about Morgan. That's another thing is Madison keeps bringing up, like, Morgan would be sorry too. Because, Daniel says that he watched, or he wanted to watch Charlie die so that she didn't die alone like Ophelia did. Which I like that bit, but it's just kind of brushed past. So I don't know, it doesn't really have any resonance. But I like the idea. But Madison's like, I know Morgan would be sorry too. And it's like, well, first of all, Morgan, I don't know how much he really cares, because Morgan told the Padre where you guys were, so how much does he really care? One. Two, how would Madison know? She barely knows the guy. I mean, let's be real. They've met like 3 times, her and Morgan, the first episode at the end of season 7, and then when they broke out of Padre, that was like the same time. And then after the 7-year time jump, they meet again. So they've met like twice. She doesn't really know Morgan, and they're kind of acting like she does, so that's kind of weird. And then we get another coincidental scene, although this one makes a little bit more sense because there's a boat here that is used, but they're going to steal a boat from Padre, which I'm not exactly clear on why they know the boat's there, but I guess, they got the woman in charge, you could say. So other Padre people get caught up with them, and they hold them at gunpoint, and there's a standoff. And I don't hate this part necessarily, but I kind of like Madison taking the initiative and holding the knife to her throat and all that stuff. But the plan here is they're going to go back to get files to find out whose kids are what, and my thing is like, if you're gonna go to Padre, why not just launch an assault? You know, what are they waiting for? If they now they know where Padre is, they got all the soldiers that they're gonna get. I mean, I don't know that they're gonna be able to recruit anybody else. Why not just have a full-on assault at this point? You know, why is the plan, let's break in and get caught? You know, because let's break in and use this woman as a hostage so that we can get the files that we want and then take it back to them so that then we can go and take out Padre and get our kids back. I don't really understand what the plan is. I mean, I guess they don't want to fight Padre because they're going to be fighting the kids too, but I don't know. It's just kind of confusing. But another thing in this scene is Mo recognizes the people holding them gunpoint, and this is the point where I'm like, okay, everybody in Padre knows everybody else, so it really doesn't feel like that big of a place. You know, it doesn't really feel like a threat that they would need 7 years to figure out a plan to try to take down. I don't know. I guess it complicates it that they want to save people involved in it. So I don't know. It's just that I want them to have a better plan. And Mo kind of has a moment where she yells at Madison, "Go, Madison!" And I kind of laughed at that bit. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was pretty funny. But at this point, you know, I was thinking they should probably just hand over the strike lady, because they're taking her back to Padre right now. So I mean, my thought process was like, if you don't want this to be an all out fight right now, why not just hand her over? I don't know. It's a bit of a hokey situation. So now we have another flashback scene, I believe, is what's next. And now we're continuing from the boat thing. Even though the soldiers just got here, they're all dead already. And the zombies are hidden away somewhere. Like, there's a lot of zombies. But they are in the distance right now, and they're calling for each other, and that draws the zombies in. But, like, if they all died right there, like 2 seconds ago, why aren't the zombies right there? It's really confusing. I don't understand what's going on with these shipping crates. They all say Padre on them and whatnot, and they kind of intercut that scene with some other scenes, which it's good editing, I will say. So now we're with Dwight's son, and he's still alive. He looks okay. He looks fine. So I'm guessing the radiation worked, but it's not even. He doesn't even look like how Alicia looked really sick last season. So he looks like he totally recovered. So again, that it's just like, why do we think Madison has anything special if it's just radiation? And I don't know. It's really confusing. I don't know how somebody who understands science better explain how radiation. I mean, I guess the zombie, it's not a virus, it's like cancer. I don't know. I don't know how radiation kills the zombie virus or whatever it is. We don't know what it is, apparently, according to World Beyond. But now we're on the dock with a really dumb plan. They're outgunned, and I guess they're using her as a hostage, you know, and the lady Shrike, the antagonist lady. And I guess that makes sense, but now they're like, "We have your daughter," and then Madison says over the radio, "Padre, we have your daughter," and then she says, "You better let us in, or I'm gonna tell everybody who Shrike is." It's like, you just did, you just did, literally you just did. It makes no sense to threaten that, okay? And then they realize last second, like, oh shit, Mo has the hammer, and we need Madison to have it so she can smash the glass thing. Better make sure that she could grab a hammer real quick. So I guess, I don't know. And then here's the big reveal. The dumb part where we find out it wasn't her dad behind the glass, it was her brother. And this changes everything, even though it changes nothing at all. Like, they still lied, right? I don't know, the dad sacrifices himself so they can get away, and they commemorate him by doing the exact opposite of what he wants. You know, his dying wish is, keep this place alive, and they interpret that to mean take people away from their parents, I guess. And they're like, oh yeah, it's because we gotta stop children from the pain of loss of their parents. And it's like, okay, in an apocalypse, the kids are more likely to die than the parents, okay? The kids are very vulnerable in this world, and they don't know how to kill zombies, and they're not strong enough to kill zombies, despite what Mo might say. So, I mean, this whole glass thing was stupid from the beginning, because it's like, we don't even know if there's anybody behind there. Like, they could be literally anywhere with the microphone, and it's like this voice changer microphone, which it's just dumb. Why does that microphone do that? I don't know. It's really stupid. And then the brother's behind the glass, and that changes everything. And then they have Madison ask a bunch of questions like, how did you convince a bunch of grown adults to do this? And that's a great question, but you got to do more in the in the script than point out your plot holes. Pointing out your plot holes makes it more obvious, and then you don't have a good answer for it. It makes it worse, bro, not better. You'd be better off just cutting out the part where they acknowledge the plot hole. Like, to be honest with you. So I just don't get it, man. Somebody calls them on the radio, calls for Padre, and then they convince the people on the radio that their parents abandoned them. Which, I don't know, I guess, wouldn't you ask more questions? Wouldn't you need some proof? Like, it doesn't even make sense. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't, it'd be hard to make somebody buy that, I think, you know? Like, your parents left you. To go where? To go where? If there's somewhere safe to go, why wouldn't they take the kids with them? Like, I don't know, bro. I don't get it, dude. I don't get it. And also, like, not letting people know who their parents are, it doesn't stop death from happening. It doesn't stop the pain of loss of other types. And also, in the normal world, everybody loses their parents at some point. You know, that it's a normal thing to have happen. You know, and your father was the age where, I mean, he had gray hair and stuff, and I mean, some people lose their parents younger than that. You know, and I get that that's very painful, but I don't, it just doesn't make any sense, bro. It really doesn't. And then there's this whole part where this girl, Dove, learns who her mother is. You know, we had the teaser, like, this other woman, for some reason, you know, I recognize you, a mother knows, you know, which makes no sense, but I guess I can buy that, because wishful thinking. You know, you see what you want to see in a certain situation. That's a realistic thing. But we look in the file here, and you know, Madison finds out that it was the woman who threatened Madison and Morgan in the crypt thing at the end of the last season. I don't remember 100% exactly what went down. But Madison implies that she was responsible for this person dying, but Madison was only doing what Padre asked. So at the end of the day, like, she doesn't even try to convince Dove that, like, even if it was her fault, it was still Padre's fault. It was still Shrike's fault. You know, it would be really easy and smart to convince Dove that it wasn't me, it was the fucking people who made me do the things that I did. It doesn't make any sense, you know, and also, we're talking about something that happened 7 years ago, and I have trouble recognizing, like, she reads the name off and she remembers. I watched this episode. Madison met this person in real life, so I guess it's easier to remember something that happened in real life. But I watched season 7 last year. I didn't remember that. I don't even remember anything about the woman in the cemetery. I remember vaguely. They show the clips to remind me. I'm like, oh yeah, okay, I remember her. But she remembers. Oh, this woman said her daughter's name was Odessa, and now she reads Odessa, and now she remembers everything. We're talking about 7 years ago. Somebody you met once. Like, I don't know. I barely remember this, and I watched this episode, you know, a year ago. So that's less time. But anyways, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's pretty dumb. And then the standoff, it basically at this point, it just feels like the episode went in a big circle. You know, like, oh, now Madison escaped, and June escaped, and then they ended up right back in Padre again. And then... And then it's extra dumb because Padre's like, let's go back to the exact same dock where we met dudes who had guns pointed at us, you know, and they don't even try to, like, communicate with the people on their side that were there. You know, they're just like, yeah, let's go back to the same place. I mean, I know it's the same location. I don't know if the show wants you to think it's somewhere different, but if it was, it would be a big coincidence because Daniel and them just show up right there. Yeah, let's go right back to where we saw enemies previously, and go in there with no plan, and you know, Daniel and his people are waiting there, and then you know, we just go in a circle in this episode. And for some reason, you know, the rebels have the upper hand. June and Madison go back with them, but they let Shrike go back to Padre. Why? Just fucking kill the lady already. Just kill her. Like, I don't see a reason why they wouldn't, unless they want to use her as a hostage, in which case they wouldn't let her go back. It makes no sense, bro. It's just because the plot needs it to happen. Convenience for the writer. They showed too much of their hand in this episode. You know, I don't really know how much more they have to show. There was one part in the boat where Madison asked June about Nick and Alicia, you know, and June says you wouldn't have recognized them. And that's like, I kind of like just acknowledging that, but it felt like an afterthought. You know, it's just such a brief thing. And I don't know, it was just dumb. And now we got all the zombies outside the shipping containers. Zombies have been there for 7 years. I forgot to mention in the flashback that the zombies looked way too old because this was like 12 years ago at the beginning of the apocalypse, you know, Fear the Walking Dead Season 1 times. And in Fear the Walking Dead Season 1, zombies looked a lot fresher. They were recently deceased people. Even the soldiers that had turned looked too old already. So that was, I view that as a mistake. So that's worth pointing out. But now we're at the shipping containers, and there's a new mystery, because they gave away all the other mysteries. They add a new one, that there's something in there that they're protecting. And they've waited all this time before getting it for some reason. And they left all these zombies there for some reason to protect it, I guess. But now they are going to protect it themselves. They're going to use the child army to take the zombies out. And I'm just like, I mean, you could use a bomb, a grenade, or you could, like, let them out one at a time. Like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like you really need an army to take out all the zombies if you're careful about it. We've seen so many zombie killing methods at this point. But yeah, I guess we're going to King County next week, and I don't know how we get all the way there. You know, I guess Morgan ran all the way there. I don't know what's going on. It's really dumb. I don't understand. The show's stupid. I can't... I mean, let me know what I missed in the comment section down below. I think I've taken all about that I can. I think I'm losing brain cells. My IQ's going down, and I need to stop thinking about the show right now. But I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you did, please leave a like, and I hope to hear from you down below. But with that, it's been your boy Shuggy. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Peace out.